Right, so welcome back guys, or welcome to your first time here. I'm Vision Hero Binary Team, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be doing my Image Comics July 2020 solicitations. So now if Image Comics or comics in general is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way don't miss more comic news from me moving forward. Now let's begin. As always, we're going to start off with my honorable mentions for the month. Now my honorable mentions for the month of July, starting off is 20XX, The Adventure Man, Ye Who Enter Here, I think it's called, Bitter Root, Die, Death for Glory, Die, Excellence, Exorcisters, and Lone Soldier. Now these are some of the first ones I'm just going to mention here. I haven't gotten to read Excellence or 20XX, Die, Death for Glory, and Die. I just kind of got bored with. I do like them, but just aren't ones I'm crazy about. Lone Soldier looks good, and Bitter Root and Exorcisters I do enjoy, but they're just not as high up as some of the other books I'm going to be talking about. My other honorable mentions for the month of July include Nomen Omen, The Old Guard Multiplied, On the Stoop, Olympia, Pretty Violent, Protector, Stealth, Tardiness, Texas, something Lone Texas, and The Mark. Now, most of these I'm really behind on or just are new this month, so they're on my honorable mentions list just for right now. I'm gonna see how they turn out, and then they might end up being on my list, but those are just my honorable mentions for the month of July. But let's get to the books I'm most excited for the month of July. Now first up, we got Ascender issue number 11. Now the synopsis for this issue reads: The Digital Mage Part 1. Captain Telsa is doing her best to shake off Mila and Bandit, but things get harder when an old friend wants to tag along, Driller the Killer Robot. Now, I really enjoyed this book so far. I'm a bit behind on it, so I can't give too many predictions here, but I definitely have been enjoying it. And I'm very curious to see where they take this going into the new arc. Again, I think this is a book that if you haven't checked it out already, definitely check out. I heard the original story run Descender is good. I never actually checked that one out yet, but I definitely plan to in the near future, and I do enjoy this. The cover for this one's very cool. It's a little bit more darker, and I like the different color tones to it, so I definitely like that of the book. But overall, definitely I'm excited to see what they do with this book and where they take this moving into the new arc of Ascender. Up next, we got a new comic called Bliss issue number 1. Now the synopsis for this issue reads: There's a drug called Bliss wiping away memories in Feral City. A good-hearted young man overwhelmed by a deadly sick child and distraught wife makes a deal to become the personal hitman to 3 gods, killing those in their way and sending memories down the river of Oblivion in exchange for his family's well-being. Now this looks really cool. I haven't read it yet, and usually I'd put this on my honorable mentions list, but this just sounds like an amazing comic if I'm being honest right now. I love the cover. It reminds me of like Kill or Be Killed meets what's the one, Bone Parish. It gives me kind of those vibes. I love both of those books. They were such great stories, and it just gives me a lot of vibes like that. I think this could definitely be another big hit for Image. The one downside I think is that this is only an 8-issue run, so that's kind of disappointing. But at the same time, I like it because they have an idea of, okay, this is the story we want to tell. It's only going to be 8 issues. Done. You know, they don't drag it out. They know where they want to go, what's going to go through. I think that's a very smart thing to do. So I'm very hopeful that this does good, and maybe if it does well, they'll expand on the story. I hope they don't like rush things and stuff like that, but I do have hope that this will be a good book for Image. Next up, we got Decarum issue number 3. Now the synopsis for this issue reads: There are many assassins in the known universe. This is the story of the most well-mannered one using the correct blade for any occasion is a matter of good manners. Now, that doesn't give too many things to go off of. I haven't read the first 2 issues. I've got them, I just haven't gotten around to reading them yet. This does sound like a really cool book, and this looks like one that could be very well done, and I just hope that it's well received and people end up getting into it and liking it, and maybe becomes a big book for Image. Next, we got Family Tree issue number 7. Now the synopsis for this issue reads: As Josh struggles to survive in the verdant wasteland that the world has become, He recalls his sister Meg's death and planting 5 years prior an incident that may hold the key to what happened to the earth. Now, I'm a few issues behind, so I really hope I just wasn't spoiled by anything, because last I knew Meg was still alive, and it wasn't all about Josh's story. Now, this is very interesting regarding the fact that it's just talk about Josh. Is the grandpa dead? Is the mother dead too? If you know these answers to my questions, please don't give them to me. I don't want to be spoiled. But I'm very curious to see what happened and what's going on moving forward in the story. Again, from what last I saw, we didn't get much from Josh. It was mainly just Meg's story. So I'm very curious to see what goes on and what has happened since then, since I'm a few issues behind. As for the cover, I really like it. I like the new different like pink coloring with the rose, something cool and different. But I'm very curious to see what happens. I'm hopefully going to try and get caught up within a couple days, just because after reading this, I'm kind of annoyed, and hopefully I didn't get spoiled or anything. Just something that I'm just upset about, but that's not a total big deal, and I apologize if I spoiled it for you if you were behind in this book as well. But definitely want to get caught up with this book, hopefully soon. Next up, we got Gideon Falls, issue number 23. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads, Wicked Worlds Part 2. Father Fred finds himself trapped in a cyberpunk Gideon Falls, and he's going to need the help of some locals to find his way back. Now, I've been working on getting back, caught up with this book. I think I'm like 2 or 3 issues behind, but I don't know. This sounds kind of corny. I like what they've been doing with the book so far. It's been fine. I wouldn't say it's great or amazing. I think it's been good so far with this arc that I'm in currently. However, I don't know, something about this just seems really corny and just kind of dumb. I'm gonna wait, and maybe they do it will be better than what I'm expecting, so I could change my mind. But it just sounds corny. I think the cover kind of meh to me, nothing crazy. Overall, I think that I'm just a little worried, but overall, I am interested to see what they do with this book and this new issue. Up next, we got Lucy Claire Redemption, issue number 5. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads, The wolf hunter, not yet fully recovered, has been taken prisoner in the night. Her captors have only one thing in mind for Lucy, her death. Now, this one I'm an issue behind on, so I can't give predictions, but this one I've been really enjoying this book so far. I think it's good. Definitely check it out if you're interested in this kind of stuff. I like the cover. This is definitely a very cool and interesting looking cover, and I'm very curious and excited to see where they take this moving forward. I don't know if this is the end of the arc or if we have another issue before the end of the arc, but I'm very curious to see what they do set up moving into another arc. I've been really enjoying this, like I said, and I'm excited to see what it has in store for us moving forward. Next up, we got Middlewest, issue number 17. And a synopsis for this issue reads, Even though reinforcements have arrived, the battle to free Abel, Bobby, and the others from the grasp of Nicholas Ryder hangs in the balance. Amidst the chaos, another powerful front moves in. Now, I'm an entire arc behind on this, basically. Somehow this book got away from me, so I gotta get caught up hopefully soon. I love the cover. All the covers for this book are pretty well done, but I love this one in particular, and I'm very excited and curious to see where this goes into. I don't know what Scotty Yana has planned for this book, and if it'll continue, because we're at the end, almost at the end of this arc. I definitely recommend checking this out if you haven't already. Scotty Young is a great writer, and I think he's got a great book on his hands, so definitely check it out. And I definitely am excited to see what they do with this book moving forward. Next up, we got Oblivion Song, issue number 25. Now, that's the big 25th issue of Oblivion Song. I think they even have, other kind of, cover beads and stuff like that. Another big thing for Oblivion Song, promotional stuff. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads, Nathan Cole's world has changed. Nothing could have prepared him for what has happened, what he's had to do, and how it has affected him. Starting now, he embarks on a new journey with a full knowledge of Oblivion and what caused the transference, the fate of the earth, rests in his capable hands. Now, I am all caught up with this book. I just got caught up recently, so I'm very, very excited to see what goes into this. I'm very interested to see where Kirkman takes this book moving forward. I love this cover. I like how it kind of pays homage to issue number 1, and I love the red background. This is definitely a book I'm excited to see what goes on here, and again, definitely excited to see what Kirkman has set up for this book moving forward. Next, we got Reaver issue number 8. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads: The Grim After Part 3. First, the watch came for the children, then they came for Breaker and Rikawa, but locking up the Devil's Son and the Skin Eater is different than keeping them there. Now, this one is very interesting. I can't really give too many predictions because, again, this is another one I'm behind on. The cover is really cool. I like the dark tones to it. It's definitely one of the more cooler title covers of this week, even though it's more of a darker tone. I do like it, and even I like how they keep it mainly dark, but then you got those little spots of blood there. That's pretty cool. Overall, I'm very interested to see what they do with this book moving forward, and I'm very excited to get this one, especially given the cover, because it's really cool looking, and I definitely think this is a pretty interesting book for Image. Next up, we got Redneck issue 28. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads: Tall Tales Part 4, The Last Stand of J.V. Bowman. Now, it's been a very long time since I read issue 27, so I might have to go back and read it just because I don't really remember what happened at the end of the last issue. Now, The Last Stand, from what I think, at least what comes to mind for me, is that JV might possibly die in this issue. I don't know. This is an interesting one. They already kind of faked his death a few issues back. Now, I don't think they'd fake it again, but then again, this is a story of vampires, so they can always come back to life. But I feel like with this book in particular, I feel like we've come to a point where maybe one of our big characters kind of needs to die. I don't know. Maybe that's just me thinking that. I know vampires are like one of these immortal things that can live forever, but at the same time, I think sometimes you just gotta have some high stakes and kill off a character, and I think this could be a good time to do that. The cover, I think, is pretty cool looking. It's definitely, again, like the darker tones to it. I like how they always add in like these blue, like dark blue tones to Redneck. It's pretty cool, and I'm very excited to get back into this book and see what Donny Gates has up for us moving forward with Redneck. Next up, we got Sonata issue number 11. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads: The Citadel, Death is Not the End, Part 5. Triumph turns to despair as Sonata returns as her temple's savior, only to find that there is no one left to save. Now, I am behind on this book, so can't give any predictions, but have been enjoying this book. I love the cover, especially with the orange background. Very cool looking, and I'm very excited to see what they do with this book moving into the third arc. Again, this is a great book. I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already, and just a great book for Image. Next, we got Undiscovered Country issue number 7. Now, the synopsis for this issue reads: Unity Part 1. After barely escaping the deadly clutches of the Destiny Man, the exploration team has crossed over into the strange new zone of Unity, a futuristic world of gleaming technology and artificial intelligence. But will it be a safe haven for our heroes, or are they destined to be absorbed into the hive mind? Now, I'm a few issues behind, so can't give too many predictions here, but I have been enjoying this book and definitely recommend checking it out. I absolutely love the cover with the whole red, white, and blue and flag here. Now, I don't know if this was intentionally released for the month of July due to the whole 4th of July thing, or if it just happened to happen due to the whole, COVID thing and everything being pushed back with comics. I don't know, but either way, I think that's pretty cool. Definitely recommend checking that out, though, if you haven't already. I definitely think it's a new great book from Image. So yeah, guys, those are my picks for the Image Comics July 2020 solicitations. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way you miss some more comic news from me moving forward. And you can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which I linked in the about section on my YouTube channel. As always, this has been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.